Olá, tudo bem? I'm Emma from Portuguese Language Lessons. Here's a short video, hopefully helping you on this tricky subject of the object pronouns, the little words that come after the verbs. Okay, so how do we choose the right one? So we very often want to substitute a noun, a word for a person or a thing, for a pronoun in a sentence to avoid repetition. So we need to either use a subject pronoun if this word comes before the verb, or an object pronoun if this word comes after the verb. Okay, so with the subject pronouns eu, tu, ele, ela, você, o senhor, a senhora, nós, eles, elas, vocês, os senhores, as senhoras, for I, you, he, so this, etc. The person who performs the action, the doer, if you like. And then the recipient, either the thing or the person, can be substituted depending on whether it's a direct object or an indirect object. Okay, so the direct object is the direct recipient, often a thing, can be a person, and in this case we use me, te, ou, a, if it's male or female, nous, os or as, again male or female, vós, for the plural of use. Of the indirect object pronoun, usually a person, because it's to the actual recipient rather than the thing that's being passed between people. Me, te, lia, very hard to pronounce. Lia, it's a bit like saying liek, lia. Nous, liege, vous, liege. Okay, these are all very quickly pronounced, very short, so often in speech we don't pick up on these words, we don't hear that they've been said. It's only when we get to do a lot of reading that we'll see the words there and therefore be able to make sense of them. Now, what I think is particularly difficult is deciding whether you're going to use a direct or an indirect object pronoun. Okay, and so here's some tips for you. And generally, it's all about which verb it is. Okay. Some can take both, direct and indirect. So they can be followed by something, to, or for someone. Okay. For example, buy something for someone, tell something to someone, give something to someone, tell or say something to someone, etc. So these verbs, comprar, contar, dar, dizer, emprestar, enviar, mandar, escrever, oferecer, pedir, perguntar, servir, can have both. You don't need to mention both when you're actually talking or writing. You can just buy something, or buy for someone, or tell someone. You don't have to have both in your sentence, but these verbs have got the possibility of both types of pronoun being after the verb. Okay, and so very often the thing is the direct object pronoun and the person is the indirect object pronoun, and really that's when the issue comes up, because when we're dealing with me or te or nous, they're the same, direct and indirect, so we actually don't really, if we're thinking about speaking the language, you don't need to differentiate between the two of them. It's when we are dealing with things or people that's when we've got to decide whether we're going to have ou or lia, a or lia, etc. Now, there's some verbs that will usually take either one or the other. Okay, so here there's quite a few that only take a direct object. So abrir, ajudar, amar, assinar, beber, etc. These verbs are always open it, help him, love her. So it's all a thing, one thing there. Okay. Take care with, there's two here to take care with, ouvir, listen. Listen, in English we say listen to him. Okay, so I should put the to there, because the to is part of the verb in Portuguese. Because often when we think about to give something to someone, the to someone is the indirect object pronoun, but here it's not. Listen to is part of the whole verb. And then pay for something. That again is the direct object pronoun, okay, despite the fact that unusually we've got prepositions there. Okay, the others are fairly clear. Okay, then we've got indirect ones that tend to have indirect object pronouns. So call someone, telephone, as in telephone, someone that is with lia. Okay, watch out the difference here with chamar. Chamar has u or a. Usually it means calling out, shouting someone. Then fazer uma pergunta, ask a question to someone. And then these ones are funny ones. Ficar bem, meaning to suit. Fica-lhe bem, it suits you well. Apetecer, when it's a funny verb that's usually used in the third person singular or plural. Apetece-me, apetece-lhe. Não vos apetece. Okay, there. Okay, let's look at some examples, because often the theory is all well and good, but the examples help us the most. So, comprei o livro para o meu filho. Comprei-o para o meu filho. Comprei-lhe o livro. Mas não lhe dei o livro ao meu filho. Não dei o livro ao meu filho. Mas não o dei ao meu filho. Não lhe dei o livro. Okay. In this video, I'm not talking about putting these two object pronouns together, because then that's entering another world of slight complication. Okay. Enviei os e-mails aos meus alunos. Enviei aos meus alunos. Enviei-os aos meus alunos. And enviei-lhes os e-mails. Okay, I haven't put these in red, which I should. And then já escrevi os e-mails para os meus alunos. Já os escrevi para os meus alunos. Já lhes escrevi os e-mails. Okay, so here for the things I'm substituting with u or ush. For the recipients we've got the lhe or liege. Okay, and notice here the recipients are usually preceded by a or para. Okay, this should be aos. Right. Yeah, okay. And here some that just take the direct object. Abri a porta, abria. Não fechei a porta, não a fechei. Comi as batatas fritas, comi-as. Já comi os morangos, já os comi. Okay, so I'm also giving you examples here of where the pronoun moves forward. Okay, in all of these. And then for the indirect object pronoun, we've got telefonei às minhas amigas, telefonei-lhes, já liguei aos meus amigos, já lhes liguei. Fiz uma pergunta ao professor, fiz-lhe uma pergunta, não fiz nenhuma pergunta à médica, não lhe fiz nenhuma pergunta. Okay, so here perhaps I've done it better, putting the red here with the preposition, because that disappears when you put in the object pronoun. When it's the indirect one. There you go, that makes it better, doesn't it? Okay, okay. So hopefully these examples help you. Okay. General notes about using object pronouns to help you understand and use them correctly. Object pronouns are always next to the verb. They're usually after and connected with a hyphen. They move forward to before, directly before the verb, when there is a trigger word before the verb, something like now, que, já. So we can see these examples here. Notice the form of the verb reflects who performs the action, the doer, and the object pronoun reflects who receives the action or the object so it does not match the verbal form. Okay, this person or thing does nothing, therefore I do not need to change the verb. And we can very often in Portuguese omit the subject pronoun, the doer, as the end of the verb makes it very clear who's performing the action. We cannot omit the object pronoun, as without it we don't have any clues as to who or what the object is. Okay, so here we go. Direct and indirect object pronouns, what they are, and choosing the right ones. I have made other videos that talk in more detail about the direct objects, the indirect objects, and about the position of the verbs when in the video about reflexive verbs. Okay, so have a look for those videos if you feel you need more detail on these subjects. Okay, alright, that's it for me now. Ciao ciao.